people, how are we all doing today? I hope we're doing fantastically well. So, I've got an interesting query. And like my last one that seemed to do pretty well, you know, the last question I answered is, are we, you know, making a problem for the motorcyclists? A lot of you had some really great, you know, responses to that. That video did awesomely well. So, question is, have you got any more video suggestions? Because that one seemed to actually work well. Now, seriously, thank you guys for that one. So yeah, this is sort of a follow-up to that, but less about other people and more about ourselves. And the question's got to be, you know, sort of on the vein of how we ride affects other people, but how we ride affects ourselves. So, I touched it on a bit of speed. Obviously, there are a lot of people that ride around like dickheads. Let's not beat about the bush. They ride around like absolute twats. They're not wearing proper gear. You know, they're wearing around in t-shirt and shorts. And you sit around for long enough and you'll hear some of the younger generation on the 125s go, oh, rip the L plates off, mate, you can jump on the back, it's fine. And at the same time going on about, you know, if the police follow us, we're not going to wear helmets. Now, this is an absolutely ludicrous fucking, you know, state of mind. Because at the end of the day, you're not trained to have someone on the back on a 125. You're not trained. Yes, we go on a bit about, you know, it's touched on the CBT, but you're not trained to do it, really. And let's be honest, a 125, especially, you know, the Chinese 125s, doesn't really have that power to pull you out of that situation. At least if something happens and I'm on this, I've got the power, I've got the braking power, I've got everything I need to be able to safely come to a stop. You know, if you get on the smaller bikes, you know, they don't have ABS, some of them, they don't have, you know, proper big brakes, some of them are still on drum brakes. And I don't know why I mentioned ABS, because this doesn't have ABS and I still take passengers, but I think, yeah, skip over ABS. Now, I get it. We're all young and dumb. But when you're taking a passenger, you've got 50% of the ability of the bike, really. Because you've got extra weight on the bike and it's, you know, it's going to weigh you down and make it a little bit more tricky, shall we say. So 50% of your normal riding ability is already gone because someone's counteracting you on the back. So if they're a shit passenger and they've never been on a bike before, and obviously you're a novice, well, that's not going to work out well, is it? And then, alright, you are able to handle it, but in a crash situation, from where it's just yourself being hurt, it's now another person. So we've got 50% ability of the bike from what you would normally have for 200% responsibility. Now, there's nothing to say you can't take a passenger on a 125 if you've got a few years experience and you've passed your test legally. That's fine. And you know, I don't quite get how going around some cones and sort of doing an emergency stop and all that lot proves that you're alright to do, you know, take a passenger, but that's how it works. And, you know, maybe we've got to respect the laws in order to understand them. Because in a situation where something happens, I'm going to take it that you want compensation. Yeah. So obviously that's where we go into the younger people thinking that it's fine to take a passenger when they've not got a license. In that, it's also big bore kits and engine swaps on shit 125s. So, for those who might not know, I mean, if you go down this channel long enough, you'll know that I used to own a Lex Moto. And obviously part of owning a Lex Moto is you join the Lex Moto Facebook group. Recently, there was someone asking a question, you know, I'm not sure, you know, which Lex Moto group, whether it was the Assault group or whether it was the normal group. I probably won't be able to find the post, but whatever. Asking, can I swap any engines into my bike? Which the answer is yes, probably yes you can. And do you know what? You'll do absolutely fine doing that. But there's two questions that I would have to ask. One, are you on L plates? So yeah, don't bother. Seriously, do not bother. And the guy's honest answer was, well, you know, I'll probably go flat out if I, you know, 60, 70 miles an hour. If I crash, I'm fucked anyway. And my response to that has got to be, well, what about 30 miles an hour? What about some twat just pulls out at a roundabout when it was, you know, you had the right of way and knocks you off your bike? I'm presuming that you're going to want compensation. And if you don't want compensation, then what the fuck is wrong with you? So, that was obviously if you answered yes, I'm still on L plates. Second question has got to be, well, obviously in relation to that, if you answer no, I'm not on L plates, well, you're going to spend what? A few £100 on finding an engine, you know, a few £100 finding someone to fit it for you, or, you know, time for you to do it yourself. And yeah, obviously by the time you spent that money, and this is bearing in mind that you'd have a full license and you're only going to go up to what, 300, you know, 250cc, 300cc, is it worth it? And obviously the answer is going to be, well, no, not really, because for, you know, you sell your bike maybe, you know, if it's a shitty 125, maybe 500, 600 quid. You're not going to spend 400 quid on the engine, so you've got about 1,100 there. You have a look what's about for about £1,100. And you're going to be able to pick up a Bandit, maybe a Hornet, you know, certainly, you know, something like an XJ600. And they're going to be better than sort of modding your 125. Yes, I get it, it's fun. You know, you've got a light bike, but weight matters as well. Weight is a beautiful thing on a bike that people forget about. The heavier your bike is, the more stable it is. Obviously the reverse applies when you slow down, but we're just going on a normal sort of day-to-day interaction. The heavier your bike is, you know, the better it's going to feel. So I realise that I'm going on a bit about the younger generation. Fuck, I feel old, I'm a millennial. A bit too much here. What about the older lot? Is there anything that we do that can, you know, and I guess it comes down to, some of us ride every day. So some of us are on our bikes, day in, day out, we get the job done, we get home, boom, bosh, done. And that's fine. Then there are some people that only go out in dry conditions. Now, the problem I would have with those people is quite simple. If you're not experienced enough in the rain, and it starts raining, you're a bit screwed. So, I know it can be a bit hard, obviously, you know, these bikes are your babies and shit, but try and take them out more often, you know, don't leave them in a garage, you know, or at least if you want to leave your, you know, perfectly pristine, nice sports bike in the garage, which is absolutely fine, get something like, you know, a Bandit 600 or something like that, a middle range bike, and just play in the rain, in the snow. And yes, I did say snow. When the time comes, I will have a video on that, but oh, that's going to be fun, isn't it? And maybe my last bit of advice is this. Wherever we are in training, whoever we are, whether we've ridden bikes for years or whether we're just starting, there's always something more we can learn. Peace out, folks.